Boing, boing, boing. Hello. This guide is about the Sipahis, also known as Stompy Cav. Stompy Cav are a very cool unit. They used to be good for their tankiness, but in this video I'll explain why I've gone for a different path instead. Somewhere at the end of 2025, the Sipahis and Azovs got reworked at the same time, where Sipahis got their charge and mastery adjusted. Now with their charge, the Sipahis will automatically leap towards enemies that are in front of them when charging to the assigned location. These leaps and tramples do quite some damage with a full damage build and knock down all enemies hit. During their charge, another skill will become available, which is called Impassioned. Using this skill makes the Sipahis do a final leap, dealing a bit more damage than the normal charge leaps, and knocks down all enemies that are hit. All those enemies will also take 50% more damage from everything for the next 4.5 seconds. Then they also have a skill called Crewpaid. Crewpaid used to be their main skill, but in the current meta we are playing in, they just cannot survive long enough to make this their main skill, as it is a very lengthy skill. When you activate Crewpaid, the Sipahis go to the enemy and start stomping them. Hitting an enemy with these stomps will knock them down, and every stomp they do gives them a 20% defense boost. They will keep doing this for 12 seconds. Now let's talk about their mastery. The first few nodes aren't really that special. This one is a bit more interesting though. This one makes it so that Crewpaid increases damage by 5% for every enemy they hit for 5 seconds. This can stack up to 5 times, so the max is 25%. These are some nice ones against shields, some armor penetration against them, and some less damage taken from them. Then you have the Glory of Empire node, which makes it so the Sipahis are immune to crowd control while leaping in any of the skills. During this, you also get decreased piercing damage taken, but they don't say how much. I asked support, and they said they can't disclose it to us, which is a bit sad, but oh well. Let's just say it doesn't feel like that much of a decrease. They also have some neat unit traits, which are cool under fire and assassins. Cool under fire. For the first damage the Sipahis take, their defenses and movement speed get increased for 10 seconds. Again, they don't state how much, but this one is definitely more noticeable than the one in the mastery. When you activate Crewpaid, this will also trigger for some reason. I'm saying for some reason, because in the description it only says the unit trait gets reset after using Crewpaid. Also, this is not a per model thing. If just one Sipahis troop gets hit, the whole unit gets the buff. Assassins. This one rarely triggers, but this trait makes it so when you kill a hero using Crewpaid, their damage dealt will increase by 30% for a short time. Again, they don't actually say how long a short time is, but yeah. Now let's take a look at their Veterancy. It used to be top line for Crewpaid, but like I said, for Crewpaid I don't think they do enough damages and have enough defenses with it to survive for the long time Crewpaid takes. So I've been bottom line to profit from all the damage bonuses. You might have seen that there's a bunch of damage percentages. 10% on this node, 6% on this node, 10% on this node, 15% on this node, 30% on this unit trait, 50% on this skill, in the mastery 25%, and in the unit tree another 15%. If you add all of this up, you get a nice 161 extra % damage, even more if it's added incrementally. So, with their already pretty high damage, these are my Doctrines. I've recently been changing them around a lot, but I feel like this is the best to still give them at least some more survivability. The Devastation Doctrine is not really worth it anymore, as the Sipahis don't do normal attacks anymore in between stomping during Crewpaid, so it will basically have no real effect. Alright, so, this is a Cav unit, right? So you play them like the usual Cav, right? Well, yes, but also no, not really. You shouldn't go into braced anti-Cav with a charge. That's a really bad idea, because then this happens. But in some cases against some units you can actually go into the enemy's braces with the Crewpaid skill. You won't immediately get all the kills, but you will be very useful to your team, knocking everything down and dealing a lot of damage. At the start you saw me charge before launching Crewpaid. This is to activate the 15% damage bonus from the bottom Veterancy line. You can also do the same thing to Braced Madao. It might not look like I did much there, but most of those Madao are either dead or very low HP. You shouldn't try to do this against things that don't need speed to deal a lot of damage, like these Phalanx for example. Anything without a damaging brace though, you can just charge right over. The best way to deal as much damage as possible is to wait until they've all just dealt damage, then you use the Impassioned so they all leap again, and even the ones that are still mid-air immediately leap again, basically dealing twice the leap damage in one move. After this, if it's safe, you can go into the enemy with Crewpaid to clean up the rest. Here's them against Shield Maiden and backwards Stalwarts. Oh yeah, and then there's these guys. You thought, motherfucker. Alright, let's show you some gameplay. I had an amazing opportunity against these Stalwarts here to charge in their backs. Afterwards, I just used Group Aid as there weren't that many high damage units around, so I could help kill some Spear Sergeants. After I came back from sending them to the supply, I saw these juicy ranges sitting here waiting to be stomped, so that's what I did. Here we got another beautiful charge, some lovely knockdowns, some lovely kills, just delicious. This is just a little bonus clip, Stompy versus Stompy, but he probably had a top veterancy, so I just easily won. Alright, let's draw the conclusion here. Sipahis are incredibly fun, but there are so many better counterparts than them. They often have the problem of just jumping in random directions when you tell them to charge somewhere because they see a unit or a barricade somewhere. But when charging in a straight line and letting them jump as often as possible, they're not that bad. Anyway, here's their weaknesses. Cav. Sometimes they do well against low speed chargers, but almost everything else just completely claps them. Another weakness is high damage with low speed anti-cav. Phalanx, Halberdiers, Orochi, Imperial Pikes, big damage, big bad. During Group Aid, you'll also most likely get overwhelmed quite quickly, but during charge, if there's no huge anti-cav, you're usually quite okay. Now for their strengths. Anything shield except for stalwarts you shouldn't be that worried of, as it won't do enough damage to kill you, especially if you're just charging them, except stalwarts again, because if you charge at those you'll just die. Also simple other infantry that have shields you do quite well against with Group Aid, if you're helping out your team. I'd say Sipahis is just a disrupting debuff cav instead of a big healer. To be honest, I don't really know what else to say about them. I guess just try them out, flank some units, kill some shields, hate threatens, love as-ups, ask questions in the comments, and let me know which unit you'd like a guide on next. Bye!